Hello, everybody. Rob Cootie here. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you guys today. We're going to have an exciting show, a stock show. We're going to talk about some critically important information that you need to know when you're going to join a new company, and that is finding the right compensation plan. Man, you're going to want to hear this because this is where the rubber meets the road, right? So with that being said, let's get this show on the road. Okay, before we get to our content, please, as always, give us a thumbs up if you like what you hear. Please share. Please tell others about what we're doing so that they can get exposed to this great information and it can help them as well. Additionally, please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, and hit the little bell so that you can get notifications, and go to our Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. And finally, go to our Facebook page. You can go there and get all the postings, and we're going to have a lot more great content coming down the road. Paul and I, we were just talking before the show, about a half hour, 40 minutes before the show. And as we go along, we're fine tuning everything. So it's going to get even better. And the content we're going to provide to you guys is going to be absolutely astronomical. You're going to be excited about what's going on because, once again, we're the only ones providing this type of information that's going to have a profound effect on your business as you go and make 2020 your best year ever. And that's what we want, right? You to be successful. With that being said, we're going to get the show started on the subject. Let's do the gong. I love doing that. I hope it's not too loud, but I love doing that. It gets us started. Remember the old Gong Show with Chuck Barris? That's what it was. Almost said Chuck Berry, but man, that's how old I am. I remember the Gong Show. That was funny as crap. It's hard to believe that show was on TV. But anyway, finding the right compensation plan, why is that important to you? Look, if you're going to make this business work, you've got to find a comp plan that's going to reward everybody. You got to let everybody participate in this success, right? So you got to remember, yes, you can get excited about the timing of the company. Yes, you can get excited about the product. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But there again, we teach you the important things of this industry, things other people gloss over. You know, they don't tell you about this. You know, you get excited about a new company and you rush out there and you join it, and or you're excited about the product, or you're excited about the potential working with a particular leader. And I want to tell you without any hesitation whatsoever, all of that pales in comparison to the important thing. And what is that? Got to remember, always remember what motivates people to join this business, period. Bottom line, yes, they might be a product-focused person and they may be an advocate for the product. They might be the best advocate for the product outside of the company. That doesn't matter. Look, if you want to build a business, and you have to determine, we've covered the basics, and I don't want to go back over that. We'll do a recap maybe later this week. But the point is, when you look at the basics and you understand what it is you want from this business, it tells you the path you need to take, right? We already talked about that. And we talked about where people try to use that daggone motivation tactic. Get in now while the getting's good. Get in and get your position before that position's gone. And we threw the red flag on that. Foul. Sorry about that, Nina. My cat's right there. Sorry, sweetheart. She's watching the show too. Anyway, the point is we threw a foul flag on that. That's bull crap. Don't get caught up in that motivational crap. We already talked about, you know what? It's the timing, not positioning, that's important when you're joining a new company. Remember that. Always remember that little phrase, timing, not positioning. And we'll get in greater detail on that in the future, in the near future. But you don't want to get caught up in that rah-rah crap that you hear on the conference calls. And I'm not going to sit here and knock the conference calls. You, as an adult, have to take responsibility on what you're hearing and sift through it, filter it out, and realize what you have a hold of, despite what you're hearing in these conference calls or in person or at these corporate events. What is their job? To promote their company, to promote growth, to promote the product, the compensation plan, all the positives that their company brings to the table so that people will get excited and join. You can't fault them for that. Yes, they go overboard. I agree with you. Matter of fact, some of the companies that Paul and I have been a part of, they went so overboard that it pushed our prospects away. Matter of fact, there was times where Paul and I would not get our prospects on those conference calls because of the fact that they were so rah-rah and over the top. Now, we weren't part of an unscrupulous company. That wasn't it. Unfortunately, a lot of times when we got on these conference calls, we didn't know who the speaker was going to be. We didn't know who the testimonial or the people that were going to do the testimonials were. So we had no idea what direction those conference calls. It was a crapshoot. And so we just finally quit doing them. We took responsibility for our own business and we quit doing them because it was, you never knew what was going to be said. And you know what? Good, level-headed, common sense people, when they got off the conference call, they'd say, Rob, that's crazy. I can't be a part of this. You know, you're a nice guy and I trust you. And you know what? I was looking at the potential of working with you, but here's the bottom line. If that reflects what the company's mentality is and the leadership's mentality is, I don't want to have any part of that. That really sucked. We're working our tail ends off out there and we get on this conference call and that happens. So Paul and I were like, that's over with. We're not doing that anymore. The reason, this is not about conference calls. The reason I tell you that is because on those conference calls, what do? They talk about all the things. And there's people out there talking about how much they made and how great the compensation plan. That is part of those conference calls. You have to make the determination whether you're going to participate in those. We're not going to guide you one way or the other. We're going to tell you our personal experiences. And I know that if Paul and I were to join a company today, which we're not going to do, our time has come and gone. But if we were to join a company today, we would not participate in the conference calls. Okay, would we host the conference calls? I don't think they would want us hosting conference calls because Paul and I we're too honest. We're not going to say over the top stuff. So really, we're going to be a boring advocate for whatever they want us to talk about on these conference calls, you know, because we're not going to get all crazy, you know, and claim this and claim that, and, you know, and have this big old smile painted on our face. And, you know, we're not going to be a goonie for the company. We're just not going to do it. We're going to tell people, honestly, yeah, this is a real good opportunity. You need to take a look at it, serious look, because, man, this thing's going to rock. Yeah, we don't have a problem telling somebody with a level-headed approach, yeah, this might be something that you might be interested in, something you might want to tap into before it's gone. What's wrong with telling somebody that, right? So anyway, we don't want to get off topic. We want to stay on topic. And I wanted to bring up the conference call because they do talk about the comp plan on these conference calls. And you have to make sure that because when right now you're by yourself, let's say you're new to the industry or you've been in it before and you're what they call a retread, which I really think is a negative connotation attached to it. But the thing is that let's say you're looking at coming back in the industry and you're saying, okay, you know what? I've matured. I have a better handle, not only on what's going on in my life, you know, I have a steady job and this and that. And I really believe in the business model, and I'd like to find a company that I can sink my teeth into and really make this thing go so they can change my life and give me the lifestyle I want. Great. Awesome. You owe it to yourself, first and foremost, and then your downline to make sure that everything in this company is new. Remember, we talked about the 5 things a company must have, and we'll talk about those in greater detail down the road. That's coming up very soon. I know I keep saying that, but we've got them in chronological order, and it's coming very soon. But the point is that you got to make sure that comp plan is not only going to reward you, but what? More importantly, why do people join this business? That's what we started this conversation with. Look, they're coming in for one of 3 things. One of 3 things: a better lifestyle, more money, more personal time. Okay. And yes, you can have one of the 3. You can have 2 of the 3. And there's some people that want all of the 3. Okay. So the bottom line is people are going to come in for one of those 3 things. All 3 of those things are focused around one thing. And what is that? Money. You got to have money to have the personal freedom. You got to have money to have the better lifestyle. So if you're not making money, you're not going to have the other 2, right? So common sense would say, well, we got to be with a company that's going to pay us and pay us good for our efforts, our time, our commitment, right? You've got to be paid more than pennies on the dollar, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, and we're going to end up throwing another red flag on this. Don't let anybody tell you, because anything above basically 55%, if they say we're going to pay out 65%, grab your red flag and say foul, 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 foul. That's wrong. That's a lie. That's bull crap. A company cannot survive on 35 cents on the dollar, okay? Now, if they have really good backing, and I'm not going to sit here and say 100% that that's correct, because there's very little things outside of sun coming up, death, and taxes that it's 100%, okay? The bottom line is that there is a room for error, or margin of error, if you will, in comments in this world, right? And it's no different here. The bottom line is there may be a company that can stretch that to 60, 65%. But folks, think about it. Can you survive right now on 35% of your income? If I came in and said, I demand that you give me 65% of your income on a monthly basis, could you survive on what remains? I would say that 99% of the people out there would say no. And why would it be any different for a company? It's not. Okay, so first and foremost, let's make sure we understand that. Keep an open mind, because funding, if a company has deep pockets and they're going to make that claim in the beginning to get the company off the ground and make adjustments in the comp plan as they go along, then that is a different approach. And that's something that you have to evaluate and decide on your own. Is that something I want to be a part of? Because I'm going to tell you, we again have been a part of companies that have made adjustments to the comp plan as time went along. That can have a real negative effect on your business and a real negative effect on the mental stability of your people. And I don't mean like they're going to become raving lunatics. What I'm saying is that people are building a business with confidence. Their mind is relaxed, they're focused, they're out there making things happen. And the last thing they want to do is have somebody mess with their pay. And the moment they hear an adjustment to the comp plan, what do you think they're going to say? How does that affect what I'm doing? How does that affect my pay? And rightfully so. Because they're like, you know what? Because they're not going to go out there and lie to new prospects. Hey, I'm making this much and so can you. They're not going to do that. So the moment there's an adjustment to a comp plan and companies shy away from it, if they can do it without anybody knowing it, they'll do it. If they can get away with not doing it at all, they'll do it. But there's very few companies out there, folks, whether they're new, young, or old. The bottom line is very few companies go through their history and not have to make some adjustment at one point. So it's not that unusual, but you really don't want the boat to be rocked in the beginning of a new company, because everybody's leery to begin with, and then to have an adjustment or multiple adjustments happening to a compensation plan. What do you think that's going to do to the confidence of your downline? What do you think that's going to do to your leadership? You know, that's going to make them take a step back and reevaluate things. And that's not what you want. Now, there's no way that you, when you're evaluating a new company, that you can find that out. You can't. I mean, you can ask the leaders, you can ask the CFO, and you know what they're going to tell you? Well, no, we have no plans on doing that. And that may be an honest answer, but they don't know what the future brings. They don't know what kind of financial challenges they're going to face. Unless they have, let's say, and I'm really exaggerating this number. Let's say they get financing for $100 million for 10 years. Folks, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of deep pockets. And then they could say, yeah, we're not going to make any adjustments to the comp plan, at least for the next 3 to 5 years. But I don't know many people that can do that or say that. So always keep it in mind, okay? And that's a call that you're going to have to make if it happens, okay? If it happens. A lot of times companies make it through their first 3 to 5 years and don't make any adjustments whatsoever to their comp plans. They only make adjustments out of dire situations if they're a new company. Sometimes they'll make adjustments as they mature, okay, from a phase 1 to a phase 2 company. And that's when they'll start making adjustments. And I can see that. I definitely can see that. And really that doesn't have as big an impact as most people think. And a lot of times the ethical companies, and I'm not saying there's unethical, that's not what I'm saying. The companies that are led by good, solid ethics, guess who will take the hit if they have to make an adjustment to a comp plan? And a lot of times a company will take the hit. In other words, they're going to reduce their profits so that the distributor force doesn't have to absorb that loss. Okay. So keep that in mind as well. There's a lot of great leaders in this industry. There's a reason why these companies are as huge as they are. There's a reason why they're as stable as they are. There's a reason why they continue year in and year out to be the rock solid businesses that they are. And it's because of great leadership and because of the ethics guide that leadership in the right direction to make the right decisions so that people will stick around. Now, let me just give you an example before we get started. It's something that'll get you excited, something that you can wrap your mind around, and something that happens. Okay, it happens with every company. So keep this in mind, with every company. Now, this is an extreme example, and it's a positive example, but I want to make these examples because I want you to understand that when you run into a new company, I always say, yeah, when you run into a new company, you have a chance to create wealth, and you do. But let me give you a real life example of what I'm talking about. And once again, this is true with every company. Okay, whether it's an old company that's been around for 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, or a newer company that's only been around 5 or 10. Here's the thing. And then nobody knows the numbers, how they play out. But I'm going to give you an example. Jay Van Andel and Dick DeVos, the founders and owners of Amway, when they started out, they started out with the soap, and they really didn't plan on making a network marketing company. What happened was they ran into the doctor out in California, California. He was really a Renaissance man, but they ran into this doctor early in their business venture who started Nutrilite. And Nutrilite is the main nutritional line in Amway, or it was when I was around. I think it still is. I'd have to look. But anyway, here's the story. So they ran into this guy, and I forget his name off the top of my head. I've been out to the Amway facilities in Hemet, California. My ex-fiance lived in Hemet, and I used to go by the facility all the time. So anyway, they went out there to the guy and ran into him and were so impressed with his supplements. And this guy was a pioneer in supplements back in the day. I mean, this was like in the 50s and early 60s. And this guy, they wanted to sell his product. And so he said, okay, I have what I call distributors, but not in a traditional sense. Here's the structure I use. And he showed them a kind of a hybrid between a natural distributorship and this quote unquote network marketing. That's not the term he used, but that's what ended up being called. But this marketing, this new marketing approach where they kind of did things differently. And that's where they got this idea when they started Amway. So, well, and they ended up buying Nutrilite down the road because they were so impressed with the quality of the product and everything. And it is a great product. But anyway, the bottom line is they adapted that hybrid business model into Amway, their Amway business. At the time, they just developed the soap, which made them famous. And they were going around selling the soap door to door back in those days. And as you know, door-to-door salesmen back in the 50s and 60s was as normal as the sun coming up. Nobody gave any thought to somebody knocking on the door and trying to sell them their wares. And here's the thing, the soap was so good that it took off. Now get this, in the early 60s, when Dick DeVos and Jay Van Andel were selling their soap door to door, they made over $80,000 a piece. Do you realize what $80,000 in the early 60s, how much that was worth? I can't even fathom. I mean, it's probably, I'm not good. I'm usually good. Well, in the old days, I'm really good with numbers, but I used to be able to adjust for inflation. But guys, that's $200, $300, maybe even $400,000 in today's money. Okay, 80,000 selling soap door to door. So what they did is they said, okay, you know what? We got something. We got something here. And they remembered the business model, and they said, we're going to start this company. We're going to utilize this business model, and we're going to empower other people to make the kind of money that we made. I mean, if we can do this, they can do it too. We've got a great product. That's proven. People want this product. And so we can pay these people with this business model, and they can build a business. And so the formation of network marketing started. Okay. So what they did to complete this story, they both agreed. I'll sponsor 250 people. You sponsor 250 people. And that's what they did. So there was 500 people in Amway when it started in this new business venture called network marketing, utilizing the network marketing business model. Guess what? Over a course of time, 495 people quit, which is normal in any business and normal in law school and med school and being a pilot. I mean, a lot of people say they want to do something, but as time goes along, the commitment and the skills and the talent start to come to the top. Guess what? A lot of people start falling away, and that's just normal. That's just life. So 495 people quit. Do you realize, okay, that phenomenal exponential growth that Amway went through over the course of the next 30 years, which kind of capped off in the late 80s, do you realize that all $8 billion on an annual basis goes through those 5 people and their families? Do you know how much money that is? You know, is there going to be another Amway? I don't know. I don't know. They say everything's silico. And the industry will go through another golden age. There's no doubt about it. And Paul and I feel like we can help people bring that, because the network market is just waiting for the new set of leaders. And the new set of leaders are just waiting for a system that they can sink their teeth into and really take this thing and make it rock and roll. Okay? And we'll talk about this, what makes companies stable as far as products go, because that's important. And once again, it's one of those hidden things that most people are not aware of. Imagine you spending your hard-earned money on a company, the wrong company at the wrong time, that's offering the wrong product and has the wrong comp plan. There's a lot of wrongs there, but there's a lot of companies, a lot of people that join companies they think are great, but they don't know the whole truth because they don't know how to evaluate a company. But let's go back. 5 people, $8 billion a year goes through them, and they get these outrageous royalty checks on a monthly basis. How do you spend that much money? I mean, folks, that's multi-millions a month. How do you spend that kind of money? Okay. And your business can be willed on to your heirs if you so choose, or you can sell it. I don't know what happened to those 5 people, but those 5 families, whether they still have it in their family, but the bottom line is that all of that is funneled through. Every distributor that's out there in Amway, the hundreds of thousands that are out there, are all under those 5 different organizations. So when you join a new company, will it become an Amway? I don't know. But here's the thing. What if it's only a third of the size of an Amway and you stuck it out? And in the new distributors that came into this company in the course of the first year of its existence, let's say you're one of 1,000 people that joined. Okay. What if you built the largest organization that moves the most volume in that new company? Another example, Richard Call almost put New Skin out of business by himself. Still to this day, he has one of the largest organizations in network marketing history. Makes multi-millions a year. And he put that together in 6 months. 6 months. And all he had was a phone, literally. I know somebody that knows Richard personally. The bottom line is that he had a burn, he had a passion, he had a desire. I'll tell you Richard Call's story on another day. You'll be blown away by the story. I knew and worked with his daughter. It was right there, Laura. It's right at the tip of my tongue. All of a sudden, blank. Laura Call. His daughter was a phenomenal network marketer in her own right. She was in her dad's organization, and man, she was a go-getter, and she made it happen. I was very impressed. So anyway, the point is that you don't need as you can tell, you don't need all the tools. What you need is a proper knowledge. Okay. And what did Dick DeVos and Jay Van Andel have? The founders of Amway. They had the right knowledge. Okay. And they applied their unique talents and abilities to that knowledge and made it work. And look where they are. Look at Richard Call. What did he have? He had a basic understanding of network marketing. He didn't fluff it up. He didn't do anything. Matter of fact, I have a thing that's called the call letter, K-A-L-L. It's something that I got from one of my upline leaders who we became very close, and we were all working together in a company. And I'm not going to mention his name because I know that he would not like that. Very private guy. But here's the thing. He sent me the call letter. And what is the call letter? It's the essence of this business, the business building process. It is. When I read that and I got that, my whole business approach changed. It totally transformed my whole approach, my mindset, everything. It was phenomenal. And I don't share that with very many people, but it's in our members area. But the thing is that document, that one document, had a profound effect on me because I got it. For the first time, I got it. Somebody told me the truth. Somebody got to the point. Somebody said, this is how it works. And you know what? I was so grateful. And I was thinking to myself, why didn't my leaders tell me that? Why didn't my sponsors tell me this? Why did they tell me all this other crap that was fogging up all of the things that this guy gets to the point with? It was a phenomenal thing. And it was a transforming moment for me. And it can be for you too. But the bottom line is this, the reason I share this with you is because, look, the basics work. And when you apply the basics to the right comp plan, the right company at the right time, you can have a virtual explosion, okay, in your business. And that's the reason why we tell you, use the 90-day mini blast, because the inherent traits of the 90-day mini blast, urgency, speed, is essential to causing that explosion when you have everything else that's already there. It's just no different than me putting together the ingredients for a wonderful meal in front of you, and you know how to use those ingredients to make this great meal. But if you're missing 3 or 4 of those ingredients, you have nothing. You're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Yeah, I can cook that, but that's not going to taste worth a hoot, and it's not even really considered a meal. Well, guess what? When you have the right comp plan, the right company, you have the proper timing, and you have the right knowledge, you see where all the dynamics are coming together, where you can have this huge explosion. That's what you want. That's what we're teaching you. So let's get on to the comp plan aspect of it. Okay, let me move my red flag. I don't think we're going to need that. At least I hope not from here on out. Okay, bear with me. All right, so finding the right comp plan is what we're going to be talking about. And I want to make sure that you guys understand the importance as we close out this podcast today and you walk away. I want you to understand the important role this comp plan is going to play, in your future, in your downline, most of all. Okay. And as I told you that day, Paul and I have gotten away from the comp plans of today. When Paul and I left the industry, there was a lot of great hybrid comp plans coming out, the new ones. There's a lot of lawyers out there that are hired by network marketing companies. There's lawyers that specialize in the formation of network marketing companies, the legal paperwork, the structure of it, the documents for the IRS, and there's other lawyers that design compensation plans. Okay. So the thing is there's been a lot of great progress made in these compensation plans. And really it all boils down to what plan the owners want to use, what makes them feel comfortable, how much money, how much backing they have, and how much they can put out. And then the bonuses and all the things that go with that have to be included in that comp plan. Now, we're going to touch on the bonuses in a minute, but let's stick with our thing here. First, you must evaluate the comp plan before joining the company. That's the reason I was just telling you about the lawyers putting all this together and the owners deciding which comp plan they're going to use. Once they decide, you run into a new company, me, we have to evaluate that comp plan. When Paul and I will look at joining a new company, you know what's in the foremost thought of our mind? Downline, prospects. Because we know that if we don't take care of them, then guess what? We don't have a business. So we we're not looking at ourselves because we know we're going to make money. We have to look at others. This business is about others. If you haven't figured that out yet, please do, because you have to use your knowledge, your leadership abilities to lead others, to help them. Because when they grow, what happens to you? You grow with them. And so does your business. But we'll get into that later. But it's your responsibility to evaluate the comp plan before joining that company. There's a lot of great sites and a lot of great YouTube tutorials on comp plans. I would encourage you to watch as many as you can and to read and take notes, print out those websites online, put them together and look at them, and look at the YouTube videos and see. And if they're talking about a binary, then find the binary paperwork that you printed out and follow that YouTube tutorial and see if it lines up with the binary that is printed out. And a lot of those comp plans online have really great narratives that go with the actual layout of the comp plan. Make sure that narrative lines up with what they're talking about in the YouTube, because a string binary is a binary. It's very simple and straightforward. So there shouldn't be any fluff. There shouldn't be any outside noise. It should be straightforward. Hey, this is a binary. This is how it works. Blah this, blah that, and this is how you want to make it work. And these are the challenges that come with that. That should line up with the narrative that you printed out online. Okay, and make sure that you understand. So let's say you find a new company and you're excited. And you're going to take a few days, rightfully so, to check, see if it has the 5 things. And one of the things you're going to check is a comp plan. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you understand through the tutorials and the paperwork that you print out that this comp plan, that you understand it. You understand how it's going to work. If you have any questions at all, call the company. If they're a legitimate company, they'll have a customer service department from day one, and they'll have those people trained. And you can call in and say, look, I've got questions about the comp plan. Or a lot of times they have leaders, these professional business builders that have joined the company from day one, that their job is to go out and perform these, I guess you call them training sessions, but really what they are, they're information gatherings, if you want to use that. They invite as many people, when they're building their business, and they sponsor Rob and Paul, and they say, all right, Rob and Paul, we're going to have in Louisville, Kentucky, a mini conference, if you will. You need to bring all of your prospects and the people you already signed up. We're going to cover the comp plan. We're going to cover the product. It's an educational process in the first few days or weeks of a new company, so people can find out, how does the comp plan work? And they'll go through and they'll make a video and they'll record that event and make it a video and training video, so that other people that are coming in can find out through that video how the comp plan works, what the product is made of, the ingredients and et cetera, and the effect it's supposed to have and all this. But the initial phases of the company, they have these traveling units, if you will, that go around teaching people across the country. And these professional business builders that are there from day one know that their itinerary is to go from Salt Lake City to Denver, Colorado, and work their way across the nation doing these mini informational seminars, I guess the best way to put it. And then from that point on, they use the videos, as I said, and then it just grows from there. So the point is that there will be ways outside of calling the customer service department for you to find out how this comp plan works. And you want to make sure you understand it. Okay. All right. Once you do that, you say, okay, I'm going to check this out. Here are some guidelines I want you to remember, and I want you to write this down or come back, watch the video, and write it down, whatever the case may be. Because when you're looking at a comp plan, I want to highlight some things you got to look at right off of the bat, and pointed questions you can ask right off the bat and pretty much get a straight answer. First and foremost, needs to attract and keep top leaders. The pay must reward those top leaders for the work. Why is that important? Look, when you learn and use our music to the ears message, it's designed to do one thing: attract high quality prospects. And I want to make sure you understand when I use the word high quality, I'm not talking about elitist people. I'm not saying that other people are better than others. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that our message resonates with people who have a proven history of establishing and achieving their goals. It doesn't matter if it's a housewife or a mom or a house dad, and they set goals. Okay, I got to get the following done today. And they go out and they get those things done. And at the end of the day, they go and look at their list and they scratch 90% of it off. Guess what? You've got a goal setter who knows how to accomplish those goals. It doesn't have to be a business person, okay? So you want to be able to attract top quality people who are used to setting goals and achieving those goals, and your message has to resonate with them. And part of that message is what they can achieve, the lifestyle and the money that they can make, and that they can achieve with this company, because the comp plan is going to reward what? Top leaders. You got to make sure that comp plan rewards those people. Because I'm going to tell you, high quality people are not used to being misled. They have no patience for that. They're not used to wasting their time and not getting results. They're not going to say, well, I'll give it another 6 months. A lot of them will not do that because they know, for the most part, top earners, top performers, here's what they know, folks. Regardless of the industry, they know that within 90 days, and when they apply their effort, and these people apply massive effort, that they should see results. Some of them expect it in 30 days. You know, some of them, the extreme type A personalities, expect it like that. Okay. And that's unrealistic, I think, because this business works in thirds, and you're going to have to relay that to people, but we're not going to go down that at this moment. But you got to know, when you're looking at a comp plan, you got to say, okay, is this comp plan going to reward my top performers? Okay. And I'm talking about the people that race through being a newbie, are soon into the transitional money, and then pushing at the door of the top money. Okay. And all of these top leaders, they understand that there's a learning curve. They understand that there's also a delayed reaction and gratification. They say, okay, you know what? I can see the money down the road. A lot of them see that because they're going to say, oh, if I put in 90 days, as you suggest, what can I do? And that's where, as I talked before, remember I told you, and I'll say it again, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you live. I don't care what education level you have. I don't care what language you speak. If I tell you to pull out a calculator and multiply 100 times 100, each and every one of you across the world are going to get the same answer, 10,000. That's what 100 times 100 is. So when you can tell them, when you're prospecting them, the prospecting process, and you tell them, look, I got a system that will produce 10,000 group volume in 90 days. And you can pull out the company's comp plan, and you should use the same barometer to judge these comp plans. People, you know, the company can tell you whatever, and these people traveling sideshows that when they're getting the company off the ground tell you, here's the rubber meeting the road. Get a calculator. Well, just 10, you in your head, 10,000 group volume. I create 10,000 group volume in the next 90 days. What is this comp plan going to pay me? When you look down there, if it's pennies on the dollar, you need to get out of there, because that you're not going to attract any top people, and they're not going to keep them if they do sign up. Okay. The bottom line is that it has to be that comp plan producing money for the top leaders who create that 10,000 group volume in 90 days. If you get out there and you bust your butt and you use the music to their ears message, and you attract high quality prospects who are used to setting and achieving goals sooner rather than later, in 30, 60, and 90 days. We just went through that example. These people are used to setting and achieving goals. And if you tell them the goals to set, and the goal is to achieve 10,000 group volume by your 90th day, and you can do that by having 100 people in your whole organization doing 100 PV, and that's personal volume, per month. And when people see, you know, if you just say you need to do 100 PV, they'll be like, why? You don't do that. You show people, look, here's what happens in your business. You set the example, 100 PV. This company has great products. There is definitely a product there that you can use to create that 100 PV. And sometimes that's going to end up being $100 a month, and sometimes $120 a month. It's all based on what points the company assigns to that product. But the bottom line is you show people and you say, this is what's going to happen at the end of 90 days. If you have 100 people in your whole organization doing 100 PV per month on auto ship, they're going to create 10,000 PV of group volume, and this is what you're going to make. Folks, you're laying it out right there. Right there. And you tell them that's not counting bonuses. I'm talking about money that goes straight into your account, because that's what you want to do. You don't want to fluff it up with bonuses, because you want to, if that comp plan is good and you show them that and they look down that comp plan and they see that if they create that 10,000 group volume, then guess what? They're going to look at that, what they're making a monthly basis, and they're going to say, well, that's what I get paid if I do that? Yeah. Well, that's pretty darn good. I think I could do that. I can see where it's worth my effort and time to make that happen. So what do I get paid if I do double that, triple that? And I've had people say that, okay? And so the bottom line is you got to have something to show them to make it worth their while, where they're going to say, okay, I can see where this comp plan is going to reward me for my time and effort. And so your top leaders are going to see that. You see the power in that? You see why Paul and I had such an easy time prospecting people? See, we didn't use our words. Our message is only, oh, there's my cat. Do you see her? We didn't use our words to convince people. We let the numbers, the real numbers. We didn't play with the numbers. The comp plan, it is what it is. We showed them the comp plan. We showed them how 10,000 group volumes created. You can't debate that. Those are truisms. There's no debating that. If you stick with this business long enough, you will have 100 people in your business doing RPV. I mean, that's just the way it is. It happens. It's the numbers game. Remember, I told you that. That's part of the secret numbers in network marketing. And you probably don't know those numbers, but you got to know the numbers and you got to work the numbers. So when I join a new company, I immediately know what I got to do to generate that 10,000 group volume. I look at that comp plan at the end of 9 days and I say, yes, that's good, or no, I need to step it up, or no, this is pennies on the dollar, I'm not doing it. Bam, I'm not wasting my time. I'm not endorsing the wrong company. I'm not promoting a comp plan that's paying pennies on the dollar and ruining my reputation with these people who trust me to make the right decision and to promote the right things in an honest way. See how the knowledge shares not only with you, but your downline, the proper way to make this business work. And that's what's missing in this industry. The reason why Paul and I are doing it, and we're doing this, is because we want this information to get out. Do you see the basics that you don't even know about that make this business go? Okay, so comp plans got to do what? Attract and keep top leaders. It must pay them and reward them. And you got to look at yourself as a top leader. If you're going to sponsor these people, they're going to look to who? You. So you can't sit there and say, well, you know, I really don't know enough. You got to say, let's go. Let's make this thing happen. And you know what? At night, you come home, you log into your members area, which is our business, and you continue to learn, and you ask questions, and you become that solid leader that others can depend on and look to if something comes up. All right. Don't get caught up in the bonuses. Okay. And we already talked about that. Look, bonuses are just that, bonuses. You got to focus on what that comp plan is going to pay you in your account, what money's going to go in your pocket, not counting cars, not counting trips, not counting bonuses. Guess what? When people get a bonus, why are they surprised? Because they weren't expecting it. It's a bonus. They were not expecting that. And so they're grateful. They're like, wow, this is so cool. So when you show them what money is going to be deposited in their account, okay, if they create that 10,000 group volume, they're even more surprised and even happier when they get that bonus, whether it's a cash bonus, a car, whatever. And I'm going to tell you, Nina, no. I'm going to tell you what people really, you know what I enjoyed the most? And I can say this without any hesitation because it happens all the time. You know what I enjoyed the most? Pin rank advancement. people love to be recognized. Yes, the money's nice. Yeah, money's great. And that's what we're using. Nina, you can't do that, sweetheart. She wants to get my lap. Anyway, the pin levels, the recognition, it's a public affirmation. Not only for me, anybody that knows me, I don't like awards. If you go through my house, you will not find a single award. You will not find any military memorabilia, nothing. I'm just not into that. Okay. To me, I think, hey, that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. I appreciate, but I do appreciate. I had a smart person tell me one day, Rob, you hurt people's feelings when you don't accept their gifts, when you don't acknowledge their accolades. Don't hurt people's feelings. They're stepping out to recognize you for what you have accomplished. And you know what? They were right. I never thought about that way. I didn't mean to hurt people's feelings. I was just bashful and didn't feel comfortable getting in, accolades or awards. But you know what? They were right. Part of my responsibility was to be humble and gracious in receiving those awards and recognition. So I got to where I embraced that pin level advancement. I still have those pin levels to this day, those pins, and the certificates that come with that and other accomplishments. So, embrace that. That's part of it, but don't get caught up in it. Okay. Now, as you know, comp plans, all of them are different. Like in the breakaway comp plan that many network marketing companies used to use. I don't know if they use it anymore because it was kind of difficult. But here's what it said. And I'm not saying all companies have some form of this. And I'm not talking about a breakaway, but what I'm getting ready to tell you. When you create that 10,000 group volume, some companies will say, okay, if you create 10,000 group volume, that's great. We're going to pay you $500 for that group volume. But because here's what they recognize. Get ready. Listen to what I'm getting ready to say. You'll see the power in it. Here's what the company say. But if you have 5 rubies and 10,000 group volume, we're going to pay you $1,500 a month. Do you see what they did? Do you understand why they did that? Because they understand the importance of leaders, the stability that they bring to the company, the volume that they create, the success stories they create, and they want to reward people for that. Okay? And you should not look at that as a negative. And what does that force you to do as a leader? To do what? Work with your growing leaders and help them to do what? Advance. Okay? And if Paul and I used to sit down, you'd go log in your back office, and back in the day, it was paper. I mean, when we got online back offices, we were ecstatic because you can't imagine the paper you're going through. But here's the thing. Some of your leaders are so busy building their business that they don't realize that they're 100 PV short of going to the next pin level and qualifying for an outrageous bonus of some type. What is my job as a leader? To let them know, and not the last day. What is my job? To get a hold of Paul and say, Paul, on a Sunday, not a Friday, when they tabulate all the numbers at the company, my job is to say on Sunday, Paul, hey, I don't know if you know, dude, but you're 100 PV short of going to the next pin level and qualifying for this bonus. Now, what do you think Paul's going to do? He's going to bust his butt. Did I do that for selfish reasons? No. I did that because I care about Paul, and I realize how much money he can make and the bonuses he's going to qualify for if he can get that 100 PV, and he may not even know he was that close. Okay. So if stability is the result of the company having multiple leaders as a part of its distributor force, what does that say about your business? What I've always told you guys, what is the essence of this business? Going through prospects as quickly as possible, doing what? Looking for, finding, and working with leaders. What is your goal over 90 days? to establish as many leaders as you can, as quickly as you can. When Paul and I sit down and make out our 90-day goals, you know what we say? Once we look at the company and it's got the 5 things, and we look at the comp plan and we know the product is safe, it's not going to hurt anybody, it's something that people want, they have the backing, blah, blah, blah. You know what we do in the part of our 90 days when we set our goals? It's not just the volume. The volume is the end result of what? The number of leaders. And the most important number that we put on our goal sheet is I want 25 leaders by the end of 90 days in my organization. Okay, whether that's in depth or I personally sponsor them, it didn't matter. I needed 25 growing leaders somewhere in my business. Okay, and when you sponsor leaders, you're going to be amazed at how fast your business will go from this to this to this to this. You'll be amazed. Okay, and it all starts with painting a proper picture of what they can accomplish in 90 days. The lifestyle change and the money that they can make in those 90 days. How do you do that? 10,000 group volume. How do they do that? 100 times 100. And you have the system and you're learning the knowledge. We have the system. It's called the 5 simple steps to networking success in 90 days or less. Okay, all based on the fundamental principles of this industry. Things that have been around for 60 plus years, things that are responsible for some of the largest, most revolutionary, most legendary businesses you've ever seen, and lifestyles that go with them. The ones that you read about, the legendary ones. We're not talking about the little, we're talking about the Bill Britts, the Dexter Yagers, the Sexsmiths, William Lawn, the Richard Calls, on and on and on. There are people today that are doing that. I bring up the old ones because they are what made this industry what it is today. They are truly legendary. They didn't have the tools we have. They didn't have the knowledge we have, but they had the work ethic. They had the willingness, and they were committed, and they built huge businesses. So let's move on to the next thing. Don't get caught up in the bonuses. Find out the frequency of the payouts. That's important. When you're talking to somebody, they say, well, how often do you get paid? There are some companies paying on a weekly basis. That makes me nervous, but I've seen some of them, and actually the checks were good. They eventually went out of business, but I don't think it was because of the paychecks. There was other things going on there. I'm not saying illegal. I'm just saying there's other dynamics that go on with companies as they grow, and there's many reasons why they go out of business. But here's the thing. I was a part of a company that had a binary. I'd never been around a binary, and they paid on a weekly basis. And yes, the checks were good until they weren't good. All right. So you got to find out the frequency of the payouts. Why? Because when people sit down and they go home at night and they say, I really like what's going on here. And what's going to make me join Rob or Paul is not only the whole opportunity, but I didn't tell them that I need to make money quickly. And this weekly payout thing, that is going to tilt me towards joining them because I need to make money as quick as possible. Okay. There's other people that find that they only get paid once a month, a turnoff. Okay. Well, if I get paid once a month, when do I get paid? You need to know that. Okay. So you got to figure that out when you're looking and evaluating a comp plan. Payouts. We just talked about that. Payouts over 55% should raise concern. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to run in the opposite direction, but you should search your heart. Okay. And when you find this out, if it's above 55%, 60, 65%, what does that automatically tell you? You know what it tells you? Or you tell me, I better find out what the funding of that company is, how long. Okay. And if a company is legitimate, and if they do have the backing they claim they have, they're proud of it and they're going to tell you about it. They're not going to hide it. If a company will not tell you how much money they have, then that's a red flag. Where is my red flag? That's a red flag. Does that mean you shouldn't join? I mean, that's up to you. That would make me nervous. Okay. There's nothing. I've been part of 2 companies where they went out of business, and that's no fun. That's no fun. You're not going to have people follow you to another company if you are a part of that. It doesn't matter whether you were innocent or not. That is not a fun environment for anybody, and they're not going to take kindly to their check stopping, and they're out there working and nobody told them. So that's a whole different thing, okay? So let's see here. Let's go here and let's talk about that real quick. I just want to make sure I touch on the really important stuff here. You must evaluate the comp plan before joining the company. We already covered that, but you do not want that comp plan overly tilted to any of the 3 levels a comp plan should have. Here's the first level, newbie money. Newbies need to make money as quickly as possible. It doesn't have to be a big money. It had, if they make $75 in the first couple of weeks, they're like, okay, this works. Okay, I'm happy with $75 because you as a leader are going to say, look, your first few checks are going to be small because you're starting out. You're only creating this much volume. But as you get like this, your checks can go up and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So then they believe you, they do it, and they're now in a medium-sized business, and they're now in what they call the transitional phase. And that means they have to make a decision. Am I going to keep my job, or am I going to go full-time in this business where I not only met, but now I'm exceeding the money I'm making in my job? And usually the decision's not hard for some people on the surface, but when they sit down and talk to the spouse, and rightfully so, a lot of times the spouses say, well, what's the long-term viability of this company? I don't know. Well, how much money does this company have? I don't know. Okay, then why would you quit a job that you've put 10 years in and making good money to go to a business that you don't know if it's going to be around? You know what? You're right. So that plays out a lot. Okay, that transitional money has to be there. And that money has to entice them to make a sound decision, not entice them to make the wrong decision, make a sound decision as to whether that money that they're making on a regular basis is enough for them to make that leap. Where they say, you know what, honey, we are making money hand over the foot. I cannot afford to slow down. I don't care if this company goes out of business in the next 4 months. The money that we can make over the next 4 months and the size of business that I can build is going to be astronomical. We'd be silly not to take advantage of this financial opportunity. Okay, if I have to, I'll take a momentary absence of leave of absence from the company to focus on this, and then we can revisit this discussion. Ta-da! Okay, but the money has to be there in the comp plan, the transitional money. If it's pennies on the dollar, don't leave that job. I hate it when people tell them, leave that job. Do this full time. Red flag, big red flag. No, we're throwing the flag on that. You can build this business in 10 hours or less per week. Another big red flag. No, you can't do that. It's not possible. It's not possible. Okay, so let's go and look at our next thing we're going to talk about. There again, it's got to provide quick money for newbies, because that's what's going to keep your newbies around that are going to transfer from newbies to transitional people who are what? Growing leaders. What do you need in your business? Growing leaders. If the comp plan doesn't have and it does not provide quick money, and I'm not talking $10. I'm not talking $10. They can't work their tail end off and come and brag to their spouse that they made $10. And the spouse says, you've got to be kidding me. You've been away from us, the family. You've given up some of the social things, and you've been out there busting your butt for the last 3 weeks, and you got a $10 check. You better check yourself into a mental ward, because that is not a smart thing to do. Okay? It's got to provide quick, good money. I should have put that in there for newbies, not crazy money. I'm going to tell you something. If somebody's providing, a company's providing big money to newbies, you better run in the other direction, because there's something amiss there. There's something not right. Okay, that's not how this business works. All right. All right. You want the comp plan to be fair and equitable. All right. Fair and equitable as much as possible. That means the total comp plan offers newbies a fair wage for the work they're doing. It offers transitional people an enticing number to where they can make a sound decision that will benefit them and their family without pearl. There's no guarantees, but it should be good, solid, transitional money. Then it's got to have the money for the big shots, because the company will not be stable. The company will not survive. The company cannot continue if the big shots are not making the type of money that they feel they need to be making for the effort that they're putting in. You can never, it's capitalism in action. I'm going to tell you something. The top earners earn every penny. If you ever become a top earner, I'm going to tell you, outside of somehow cheating the system, which I've never seen, that if you're making big money, you earned it. You earned it. This business model rewards people for the commitment and work ethic that's put in. Yes, there's a lot of dynamics that go with it. Okay. But the bottom line is that, man, when you get those dynamics under control and they're working with you instead of against you, and you don't have to have each and every one of them, you just have to have the majority of them, the right ones working with you instead of against you. When you do, the explosion takes place. As I said, the lifestyle you can create is unbelievable. But here's the thing. The comp plan has to reward you for that effort. I'm going to tell you, you're going to earn every penny. If your goal, which it should be, to build a big business, I'll always advocate that. To build a big business, here's what you should do. Once you reach that level, if you can, pat yourself on the back, because you've earned every red cent. This is not a get-rich-quick thing. This is hard work. It's commitment. It's going to be a challenge. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a challenge. To make that kind of money, folks, and anything is not easy. Is this easier? Yes, it's easier than a 40-year job. It really is. What you're doing is you're condensing 40 years into 2 or 3 years. When you do that, it's going to be intense. It's going to be hard work. But you know what? You're going to go through hard work. You're going to go through challenges anyway, whether it's now or 5 years down the road. What this business model does is condense it down. And when you come out the other side, you're going to say it's worth every penny. Because there's going to be very little that you cannot do in life. There's going to be very little that you cannot buy in life. It's worth every solid minute. Okay. As we said, must provide transitional money. Got to. If you don't, if it doesn't, you're not going to have leaders. You're not. You're going to have temporary leaders. Absolutely. Yes. And you're going to have a temporary business that's going to fall apart one day. You're going to wake up and poof, it's gone. Okay. And you're just going to be heartbroken and you'll be like, what am I going to do now? I quit my job and things were going good. So you can see how learning and understanding the comp plan and what it can do and what it can provide and whether it's solid, and if it's going to cover the 3 phases of that, or not the phases, but the 3 parts of the transitional aspect of the business model or the comp plan. Because look, when you're going up the pin level, you're actually going up the level. That is all transition. You're going from a newbie to pin level number 1. Then you go from pin level number 1 to pin level number 2. And each pin level is attached to an advancement, meaning that now in the beginning, you're creating volume. And then the next level, you have sponsored someone and that person became a direct, or that person became a Ruby, or whatever it is they became. And each one of those levels are identified by a pin level, but that's because of advancement. Okay. And each one of those levels of advancement is a what? Transition. Okay. And so when you go from a Ruby and you're looking to become a Sapphire, okay, and you look at the comp plan and you say, man, that's a big jump money-wise. I can't wait to become a Sapphire. That's going to be freaking awesome. Man, we're going to go out and celebrate. We're going to go on a trip. That is just awesome. When you see that, what does that do? That motivates people to do what? Transition again from being part-time. They're totally away from a newbie, but they're taking another transitional step in not only the comp plan, but in their life, where they're feeling more comfortable, where they're going to be around your business longer. And when you're there to help them, and when you're there to celebrate those advancements with them, and you guys become like this, what do you think that does to your business? It makes it solid as a rock. It makes it solid. Because those people, chances are, they don't want to leave. They're like, you know what? Rob's there for me. He is super knowledgeable. He's always there when I need him. We get along great. We're developing a wonderful friendship. You know what? We go out and we have a drink together, or we go out and have coffee together, or we have lunch. And I don't think I can get this anyplace else. Yeah, I might be able to make more money in another company, but you know what? I'm really happy. You know, I'm really happy. I don't want to back away from what I have. What does that do for Rob's business? It lets Rob go to bed at night knowing that when he wakes up tomorrow, his business is going to be there. Okay. And we'll talk about the other intricate details of building a business, which will totally blow you away, but are essential that you know, because there are times when you don't collaborate or, how would I say, reach out a helping hand to your downline. There are times, you know, you've got to be a tough parent. You got to be a tough leader. And we'll explain that later. We don't want to get into that now. But the point is, you focus on your leaders. When you do, and you develop that friendship, and you develop a bunch of friendships with all of them, why do you think they have leadership retreats where only people above a sapphire can go? And it's all expense paid. Rob pays for everything. I pay for all the hotel rooms. I pay for all the meals. And we all just have a good time. Yes, we talk business. You know, first couple of days, we just kind of relax and enjoy each other's company. And then you get into the business aspect of it. Why do you think you do that? Because you want to do what? You want to bond with the people that make up your business. And if they have private questions they want to ask you, they have the opportunity to do it right there. Okay? It's all about friendship. It's all about relationships. It's all about communication that happens on those leadership retreats, which is another discussion for another day. That's advanced stuff. We want to get into that. We got to stick with the basics. But you can see where our level of knowledge in this business can help you tremendously. Again, this type of knowledge is in our members area. So with that, I'm going to hop off of here. Don't forget, tomorrow's subject, podcast number 8, is going to be know and establish your 90-day goals. That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a great one. Know and establish your 90-day goals. We're now starting to put the rubber to the road. Okay. We talked about the comp plan. That's important before you set your goals. Obviously, once you find the comp plan, you feel comfortable that you can endorse it, that it's going to reward everybody in a proper manner, then it's time to sit down and put down your 90-day goals. Okay. And we're going to talk about that. You don't want to miss that. Please share our videos. Please share our channels. If you haven't already, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. Please do that. Get notifications, hit the little bell. I think you have to hit it twice. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. It used to be you only had to hit it once, and I don't know what that's about. But anyway, you have to hit it twice to get notification when we post new content and when we go live. Please follow us there. Obviously, our videos go there. We have our blog. You can do that. Let me see. Where is that? As you can tell, oh, there we are. There we go. There's our blog. And you can go there. Please follow us there as well. Follow us on Twitter. Please follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Everything, hashtag TheMLMSolution.net. I need to put that down on here too. Hashtag TheMLMSolution.net. Please follow us on all of our platforms. That way you can be notified, and also you can follow us when we have content coming out in the near future. We're going to be posting a lot of consistent content and freebies out there. And if you're following us on our various platforms, you're going to get instantaneous notification, and you'll be able to download and get access to this all-important information so that you can continue to become the leader that you need to be to build a wonderful future utilizing this amazing business model. That being said, God bless everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day. Not weekends, but every weekday. So tomorrow, establishing and writing down your 90-day goals. Take care, everybody. God bless. We shall talk to you later.